Hi, you guys. Welcome to Audrey's Reading Area on this terrific educational Tuesday. Terrific Tuesday, you guys. First, I'm going to ask you to click like, click share, then go on over to Audrey's Reading Area on YouTube. Smash that subscribe button for me. Shout out to my grandbabies. This is Grammy, and Grammy misses you all so much, and I love you so much. Sana, Korea, DJ or David the Third, and Kaden. Thank you guys so much for listening to me read Solve a Crime on this terrific educational Tuesday. Solve a crime using real math. Solve a crime using real math. Now let me just put it out there. I can't stand math. Math makes me want to throw up. I can't stand math. Solve a crime using real math. They got all the symbols here. On the back it says, solve a crime, call 911. A mansion has been burglarized and a thief is in the house, is on the loose. The crime busting business isn't what it used to be. Hand in hand with science and good old fashioned detective work. Anybody want to be a detective out there? Raise your hand. Good job. It says mathematics plays a larger role than you might imagine in helping authorities find the key to cracking the case. You guys didn't even know that, huh? In this book, you will see how basic math skills can help ferret out facts. Yep. And unearth evidence in these and many other crime solving tasks. Well, all right. Crime scene investigation, they call it CSI, gathering evidence, police work, detective work, forensic and lab work, analyzing clues. Solve a crime. Written by Clemson and Pritchard and Jones. Let me see who. It says by Wendy and David Clemson. So it was written by and Kevin Pritchard and Dr. Allison Jones. So I guess that was written by all of these. And I guess some of these pictures were by these people also. We're going to have fun with math here, huh? Although I don't like math. How many of you guys like math? Raise your hand if you like math. Well, all right. Good for you. I don't like math. But I still try to help my students with it. Okay, let's just jump right into this book. Now, I did not pre-read it. So, whatever surprises you see on my face is real. have fun with math. And I'm putting it up to the screen. You can freeze and read. It says how to use this book. Think I'm going to put my other glasses on so I can see this stuff a little better. But I hope you guys are ready, gearing up for what's going to happen in this book. How to use this book. Math is important in the daily lives of people everywhere. We use math when we play games, when we ride bicycles or go shopping, and everyone uses math at work. Imagine there has been a burglary at the home of a millionaire. The home of a millionaire. You may not realize it, but police officers, detectives, and forensic scientists would use math to find evidence to solve a crime. In this book, you will be able to try lots of exciting math activities as you learn what it is like to be a part of a crime-solving team. If you can work with numbers, measurements, and that's why I have my tape measure here, measurements, shapes, charts, and diagrams, then you can solve a crime. How does it feel to be a detective? It says, grab your evidence kit and find out what it's like to investigate the crime of the scene of a crime. Math activities. The detectives' clipboards have math activities for you to try. Get your pencil, ruler, and notebook for figuring out problems and listing the answers. Need help? If you are not sure how to do some of the math problems, turn to page 28 and 29. We'll get this shortly, where you will find lots of tips to help you get started. Turn to page 30 and 31 to check your answers. Turn to page 32 for definitions of some words and terms used in this book. Okay, math, facts, and data. To complete some of the math activities, you will need information from a data box, which looks like this. Looks like this. Okay. Some information will be on maps or pictures. A detective needs to examine all possibilities. Math challenge. Blue boxes like this one have extra math questions to challenge you. Give them a try. So they have witness statements, detectives work, police work, fact, burglary suspects, data box, and the math challenge. So take a look at all of these things. All right. Call 911. There's been a burglary. Don't call 911 right now. Only call it if there really was a burglary. Okay? All right. There has been a burglary at the mansion of a local millionaire. The millionaire is away on his yacht. His maid discovered the crime and called 911. The first police officer to arrive at the scene of a crime uses police tape to secure the scene. So they put this yellow tape around the scene so nobody can go in and mess up some of the evidence that they have to collect. The police tape stops people from walking onto the scene and destroying evidence. Next, the officer, who is often called the first responding officer, calls for any assistance needed, such as detective and evidence technician, and if anyone is injured, an ambulance. You are the detective. You are the detective on duty today. Grab your notebook and pencil. It's time to get to work. I'm going to give you a second. Go grab your notebook and your pencil. Oh, yeah. Or pause the video. Detective work. The safe is empty. All the thief left behind are some paper bands that had been wrapped around bundles of cash and some empty boxes in which the millionaire kept his jewels. In the data box on page 7, you will see the bands that came off the missing money. How much cash was stolen? These are the bands that came off the missing money. Look at the 3 jewel boxes in the data box. The missing gems have left the following 5 shapes in the boxes: equilateral triangle, square, octagon, isosceles triangle, and hexagon. Name the box in which each shape appears. And there it is. Math challenge. The thief dropped the code numbers he or she used to figure out the combination for the safe. Uh-oh. The combination is made up of products from the 12 times multiplication table. The 12 times table, you guys. Can you figure out the combination? So it's got go ahead and check them out. That might be the combo. I might have just told you. Box A, sapphires. Box B, rubies. Box C, diamonds. Okay, let's see what else we got. Let's see. Shout out to my mom and my cousin Audrey Reads for being here and listening. Thank you guys so much. The crime scene. We will now read about the crime scene. So the burglary took place in the dining room of the mansion, where a safe is hidden behind a family portrait. The dining room is now a crime scene and will be examined by an expert evidence technician. The evidence technician is in charge of the crime scene and is responsible for protecting the area and everything in it. He or she has the power to stop other people, even other police officers, from entering the scene. Evidence technicians must pay attention to every single detail, no matter how small. They cannot make mistakes. Examining the crime scene is the most important part of a criminal investigation. Missing a piece of evidence could ruin a case. Oh yeah. So, crime scene fact: everyone entering a crime scene must wear protective clothes to keep hair and clothing fibers from contaminating the scene. While working at a crime scene, an evidence technician wears a one-piece paper suit with a hood, as well as a face mask, gloves, and overshoes. Police work facts. An evidence technician checks the police tape at a crime scene, and then they adjust the size of the scene if he or she thinks the area should be bigger or smaller. Wow. Makes sense, right? They need to adjust it to make the area bigger or make the area smaller. The photographs taken by an evidence technician on a crime scene are used to support prosecution of the crime in court. Both the photographs and the evidence technician sketches can be used at a later date to check any details about the crime scene. I want to shout out to my coworker, Ms. Vaught, who gave me this book to read to you guys. She gave me this book to read to you guys. Shout out to you guys. So I'll let you see the math challenge, and you can do that on your own. You can pause and freeze the math challenge, and you can do that on your own. Examining the scene. When searching a crime scene, two very important areas to examine are the point of entry or ingress and the point of exit or egress. At the mansion, you examine the French doors in the dining room. It looks as if the perpetrator used the French doors to enter and exit the building. The French doors. There are footprints in the dining room, just inside the French doors, and you find fragments of glass, just outside the doors, and notice that one of the window panes on the French doors had been broken. You also notice the splashes of blood on the glass. Evidence. The thief must have been cut when he or she smashed the glass to break in. Look at this crime scene. The detective work. The perpetrator must have escaped through the mansion's garden, so the police are searching the grounds. Figure out how long it would take someone to run from one location to another on the grounds of the mansion and check it out. Figure that out. I know you guys like math. Pause and then figure it out. Crime scene fact. The entry and exit points at a crime scene are very important. An evidence technician may find fingerprints or shoe prints on or near a door or on a windowsill, and may discover tool marks where doors or windows have been forced open. Here's a math challenge. This diagram shows some of the buildings and features on the mansion grounds. Trace a route in which you visit each building or feature once, starting and ending at the main gate. Well, all right. This is the millionaire's estate. That's his house and his grounds, which is called his estate. Gathering evidence. The crime scene at the mansion has been photographed and sketched. Now, the evidence technician must find and gather forensic evidence from the scene. Any piece of evidence that is found has to be securely packaged, then labeled with the details of where it was found, when, and by whom. The most common types of evidence found at a crime scene are blood, like hairs, little pieces of hairs, fiber from clothing, fragments of glass, tiny chips of silver, slivers of paint, soil and plant material, fingerprints, footwear prints, articles of clothing, documents. Yeah, all of those are definitely types of evidence found at crime scenes. When all the forensic evidence is recovered, the evidence technician examines the scene for fingerprints. Evidence work. You have already shown that you can examine a crime scene. Now it's time to find out how good you are at looking for details. So compare the two photographs of the dining room on page 13. How many differences can you find? And what are they? So here is the picture of two pictures of the crime scene. How many differences can you find? I see there's something here and it's not here. There's nothing on the wall here, but there's something on the wall here. Something's here, but it's not here. Can you guys spot any more on your own? Come on, you guys, find that evidence. I know you can. Oh yeah, look over here. That stops here, and on this one it goes all the way down to the ground. Keep looking for evidence. Spot the differences. Well, all right. Handling evidence, crime scene facts. Blood. Pools of blood are recovered using a pipette. Blood that is soaked into material is allowed to dry. Then the material is packaged in a plastic bag or container. Dried blood is removed using a razor blade or a cotton swab dampened with water. Hairs. Normally hairs are large enough to see. Evidence technicians use tweezers to pick them up, or they lift the hairs using a special kind of tape. Fingerprints. Evidence technicians find fingerprints by shining special lights on them, by brushing them with special powders, or by applying chemicals that turn them to a color that can be seen. All of these methods help make the prints show up against their backgrounds. Sometimes large objects believed to have prints on them are removed from the scene and taken to a lab for enhancement, making it bigger so they can determine whose fingerprints are those. Glass. Pieces of broken glass are put into plastic containers or boxes. Evidence glass is not put into plastic bags because the broken glass could cut through. And it is not put into glass containers because they could break and mix in with the evidence. How smart is that? You didn't think of that, did you? Good job, you guys. Y'all gonna be some good detectives. And look at the fingerprints. Remember they said the powder and the stuff that makes their fingerprints turn a color so it can be seen? Here's some more down here at the bottom. Check it out. Fingerprints. That's fingerprints. The prints of your finger. Here's a picture of an evidence technician recovers droplets of blood from a piece of broken glass. This is it right here. Interesting. Witness statements. Witness statements. Witness statements. You have several good pieces of evidence from the mansion crime scene. Footprints, broken glass, splashed with blood, a hair, a palm print, and some fingerprints. More than just physical evidence such as fingerprints, however, is gathered at a crime scene. Detectives also gather verbal or spoken evidence by taking statements from witnesses, victims, and suspects. One of the millionaire's neighbors has given you some interesting information. The neighbor is an elderly woman who cannot walk very well, so she spends her days looking out the window. Earlier today, she saw someone dressed in black and wearing a hat running from the mansion's back gate. Detective work. The person the millionaire's neighbor saw was also wearing white athletic shoes and glasses. The neighbor is not sure of the person's height, but he or she was definitely taller than the garden wall, which is 66 inches high. You have interviewed everyone who lives or works at the mansion or who was seen in the vicinity on the day of the burglary, and you have listed their answers. The answers to your questions in the data box. On page 15. You listed the all the answers that you got from all the people the people that were in the mansion. So check it out. Read these. The detective work. You asked each person's height and if he or she ever wears glasses or owns a pair of white athletic shoes. Use the information in this data box to answer the following questions. How many people never wear glasses? So look at this and look at this. Look at this to answer the questions. Can you see it? Answer the questions. Isn't this a fun book? I know it's fun. I know you're enjoying this so far. All you detectives. Here's a math challenge. Look at the math challenge. It says, the facial features below were produced by computer software. How many different faces can you make using these features? Wow. Interesting. Interviewing suspects. You have narrowed down the suspects to 7 people who could have been the mysterious figure the millionaire's neighbors saw running from the grounds of the mansion. Do you have the correct 7 people written down in your notes? The maid has said that she discovered the crime. She told you that when she finished dusting in the dining room at 3:40 p.m., all was well. When she returned with a vase of fresh flowers for the table at 4 o'clock, which is only 20 minutes later, the French doors were wide open and the safe was empty. You now have to find out what all of the suspects were doing at the time the crime was committed. Nice. So detective work, pages 16 and 17, that's 16 and that's 17, contain statements from all 7 suspects. Oh boy. Each suspect was asked what he or she was doing on the day of the burglary from 2 p.m. onward. Read the statements and figure out which suspects could have been at the mansion between 3:40 p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. and had enough time to commit the crime. Remember to write down the names of the suspects in your notebook. So you can read these, pause, and read, and it'll help you out. Check out the math challenge. The chauffeur has just remembered the exact time at which she returned to the mansion. She remembers seeing the church clock in her rearview mirror as she drove through the main gate. What time does the clock show? And remember the face of the clock was reversed because it was seen in a mirror. So that's like 20 after 4. So if it was reversed, can you figure out what it was? Flip it. Interesting. Analyzing clues and footprints. Analyzing clues and footprints. The pieces of evidence collected at the crime scene have been taken to a laboratory. So it is time to do some forensic work and eliminate some more suspects. Footwear prints can be as unique as fingerprints. As we walk around in our shoes each day, we wear them down, and they become damaged by stones or small pieces of glass. This damage is unique, sort of like a fingerprint. No 2 people have the same fingerprints. This damage is unique, which means that no other shoe will have the same damage pattern. A footwear print recovered from a crime scene can be compared to a suspect's shoe, proving that the shoe was or was not at the crime scene. Footwear marks will either be latent, cannot be seen, or patent, can be seen. Check out the forensic work. The footprints found in the dining room of the mansion are patent, can be seen. No one was allowed to come in or go out of the French doors until the footprints had been photographed and recovered. So the two footprints measured 12 inches long and 11 inches long. According to the bar graph below, what shoe sizes are they? Casting. Electrostatic lifting apparatus. Freeze it and read it. And here's a math challenge for you guys. Every pair of shoes has a manufactured sole pattern. So check it out. Read it. And go ahead and do it. Hope that's interesting. Hope you guys are interested in this because this is amazing to me. Analyzing clues, blood and hair. Analyzing clues, blood and hair. Let's see what this talks about. Now, the blood splashes and the single hair that were found at the crime scene must be analyzed. The blood has been removed from the pieces of broken glass and is being tested to find out if it is type A, type B, type AB, or type O. All humans have one of these 4 blood types. The single hair has been mounted on a microscope slide. A microscope will magnify the hair 100 times its normal size for close examination. Forensic scientists can then tell whether it is human hair or animal hair, and they can confirm the color of the hair. By examining the tip of the hair, scientists can tell if the hair has been cut recently and whether it was cut with scissors or with clippers. Isn't that amazing? They can just examine the hair, look at the end of the hair, and tell. Forensic work. Check it out. The blood found at the crime scene is type B, and the hair found in the safe is brown. Eliminate more suspects by comparing their hair colors and blood groups. Go ahead and read and finish. You can go back and you can freeze this and do it. Blood fact. Let me read this blood fact to you. For many years, doctors tried to transfer blood from one person to another, but the transfer or transfusion often failed. The blood would get lumpy and kill the patient. In 1901, however, a scientist named Carl Landsteiner discovered that all blood is not the same. Landsteiner found 4 different types of blood and determined that a blood transfusion will work only if the right type of blood is transferred. Wow, interesting. So, here's another math challenge. About 2 or 3 weeks after a haircut, hair tips begin to look rounded. The tips of the single hair found at the crime scenes look square, which means it was probably cut recently. So someone had whoever robbed it, had a recent haircut. Isn't this stuff amazing? So look at the hairdresser's tally to answer the following questions. How many customers did the hairdresser have? How many customers did not have white hair? 6 customers have dyed hair. What fraction is that of the total number of customers? All right. Hair facts. A single hair has 3 layers. The cuticle, which is the outer covering, the cortex, which is the inner part, and the medulla, a tube through the center of the cortex. The cuticle is made of colorless scales that overlap like the shingles on a roof. The shape of the scales can be used to tell whether a hair is from a human or an animal. The cortex contains pigment granules that give hair its color. Hair is often found at a crime scene because every day approximately 100 hairs fall out of a person's head. Sometimes eyebrows, eyelashes, facial hairs, and hairs from arms or legs are found. Under a microscope, the hairs from different areas of the body look different. So do you see this picture of the hair, magnified hair in the background? That's what your hair looks like under a microscope. Or a magnifying glass like I have. Magnifying glass. So look at our suspects. Fresh cut hair gave you away too, huh? Analyzing clues. Fingerprints. We're going to check out the fingerprints now, you guys. Check it out. Check it out. The patterns of ridges on people's hands, fingers, and thumbs are unique to each person. That means everyone's is different. Our ridge patterns form before we are born and stay the same our whole lives, unless they are damaged by burns or severe scarring, or if you cut your finger or something, you'll see like a slash through your prints. And that's forensic work right here. So there are sweat pores along the lengths of the ridges. So when a finger touches a suitable surface, it leaves a thin, usually invisible impression in sweat. The impression is called a fingerprint. A fingerprint can prove that a particular person was at a crime scene, but it cannot prove when. So it can prove that you were there, but it can't prove when you were there. Police officers will compare fingerprints found at a crime scene with inked fingerprints taken from suspects, the victim, and any other people who are at the scene. Main classes of fingerprints. Take a look. Take a gander. And pause and read. Pause and read. Here's your math challenge. Pause this video. Read it and figure the answers out. Confronting the suspect. Confronting the suspect. You're going to confront the suspect now. The village hairdresser has just confirmed that the gardener had his hair cut last week. All of the evidence is now pointing towards just one person, the gardener. He had enough time to commit the crime. It could be his footprints in the dining room, his palm print on the table, his blood on the broken glass, and his hair in the safe. Uh-oh. The fingerprints found in the safe were definitely the gardener's. It is time to confront your main suspect. You find the gardener in the greenhouse. He is acting suspiciously and refusing to answer any questions. So you arrest him. Then you take a look around. Look at everything that you see. Oh no. Oh no. Here's your math challenge. Make up your own secret code by giving each letter of the alphabet a number from 1 to 26 and start with the first letter of your name as number 1. Detective work. Before he was arrested, the gardener was busy making a note that looks like some kind of code. Cracking codes is a specialist skill, but the data box on page 25 has a grid that will help you decipher the gardener's secret message. And look at this. When an arrest is made, the suspect is usually put in handcuffs. Evidence, fact, and forensic fact. I'm going to read those to you. Isn't this interesting? I hope you guys are Loving this. Hope you're loving this. So, evidence fact: every piece of evidence gathered at a crime scene must have, excuse me, a chain of evidence, which is a written record that tells everything that has happened to the piece of evidence from the moment it was recovered at the crime scene until it appears in court. So I didn't know that was what a chain of evidence meant. I collect something from a crime scene. Then I take it to the evidence at the police precinct. I have to write that down. It has to be noted on it. From the precinct, I take it to the lab. You have to write that from the precinct to the lab. You got to write all that stuff. That's called the chain of evidence. How fun and interesting is this? Wow. Every police officer or scientist who comes into contact with the evidence must keep the chain going. If there are any gaps in the chain, that piece of evidence could be considered inadmissible, which means that it could not be used in court to help convict the perpetrator of the crime or convict the person that committed that crime. Forensic fact: evidence found at a crime scene helps investigators link a suspect to the crime. So if you found the gardener's athletic shoes, you could compare them to the footprint found at the scene of the crime. The footprint contains important details from the sole of a shoe. The unique damage marks on the sole of the gardener's shoe could prove that he was at the scene of the crime. Oh my. Oh my, there's the code. Code cracker. Try to crack the code. Here's the code in the code cracker. Okay. Pause it and solve it. Finding the stolen goods. Finding the stolen goods. The evidence found at the crime scene, the analysis of the evidence by forensic scientists, and the interviews you have conducted with the witnesses and the suspects have all paid off. The main suspect, the gardener, has confessed. But you still have one small problem. The gardener hid the money and the jewels so that in the event he was arrested, an accomplice would be able to pick them up and keep them for him. You must find the stolen goods and return them to the millionaire before you can close the case. You will also have to find out who the gardener's accomplice is, but that's another case entirely. Wow, so take a look at detective work here. You are standing at the tree with the hole in its trunk. Inside the hole, you find a note for the gardener's accomplice. The note gives directions to where the money and jewels are buried. Wow. Wow. It tells you where to dig. It tells you all of that stuff, huh? He had this thing planned out. Forensic fact: all living things are made up of cells. Inside most cells, stored as a substance called DNA, are the instructions for making that particular person, animal, or plant. By testing blood, saliva, skin, and hair, if there is some hair root present, forensic scientists can match the DNA found at a crime scene to a suspect. A forensic scientist could find DNA in a single skin cell, which means that just by touching something, such as a doorknob, a person is probably leaving behind his or her DNA. Yes. The DNA from the blood and hair found at the millionaire's mansion, it could be tested to match it to the gardener. Wow. Math challenge. You found the stolen money and jewels buried exactly where the note directed you. Now you can return them to the millionaire. Wow. Math tips. I probably need to read those, right? Math tips. These are math tips. Moving around so you can see them. Freeze them. Let me go from one page at a time. Math tips. All right. And here are the answers in case you want to know. Here are the answers. I'll start with this page. Answers. Good job, you guys. I know you guys were following along. Here's the answers. I'm trying to get the light out with the picture. There we go. Well, all right. All right. Here's the glossary. Some new words like accomplice, evidence, recovered, arrest, patent, witnesses, and measurement conversions. All right, the end of this book. Thank you for being here and listening to me read. Fun, exciting, and adventurous and educational, because today is Educational Tuesday. Books like this, solve a crime using real life math. Did you love it? Look at the pictures on the back. You got the cop, the officer here. You got the empty safe. Solve a crime. Well, all right, you guys. Again, shout out to my 4 grandbabies. Grammy loves you. Korea, Sanaa, David III, Caden. All right. Shout out to my mom who's here all the time. Shout out to my cousin Andre. Thanks for being here. And Sadie, thanks for being here all the time. Thank you, Patsy, for being here with your crew, your 4 babies. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Victoria. And thank you, Sheena G, for sharing my videos. And everyone that shares them, thank you. Everyone that's here that I can't see right now, thank you so much for being here. I am loving all this love and support. So now, you guys, you know I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'll be live, Live. I'll be live at 5. Alexa, what time is Audrey's reading area?
It's 5:43 p.m.
That's not... Alexa, what time is Audrey's reading area?
Here's something I found on the
Alexa,
web.
stop. Alexa, what time is Audrey's reading area?
Audrey Reads in her area live at 5 o'clock p.m.
Live at 5. OMG. So let me show you a little bit of stuff that I got. You know, I got the tape measure. This goes up and down so you can measure stuff. So if you want to measure like my glasses, it starts from here, goes to there. Tape measure. I have the magnifying glass. Look how big it made my eye. Magnifying glass. And I put a little brush, little cloth, and little things here that look like it could be germs. I mean, I'm trying. I hope you loved it, and I hope you go on over to YouTube and smash that subscribe button for me, Audrey's reading area. And yes, I will see you again tomorrow. See you soon.